Welcome to Managing Asia. I'm Kaori Enjoji, standing in for Christine Tan. The battle of the car giants continues, and it's in industrial cities like this in Tochigi, 2 hours north of Tokyo, where you can see all the action first, where the most advanced cars are rolling off the line, including Honda's new hydrogen fuel cell car. And it's also where we caught up with their CEO, Takeo Fukui.
Honda Motor calls it the FCX Clarity, its latest gamble in the race to build the ultimate green car. Powered by hydrogen, the fuel cell car is one of the most advanced eco-friendly automobiles on the road, with zero emissions. And the man driving this innovation, the charismatic Takeo Fukui.
In order to solve the CO2 problem, I am convinced that we need to develop this type of hydrogen fuel cell car. I am also convinced that there is no future in the auto industry without it.
FCX Clarity の登場です。
The FCX Clarity was launched to a media blitz at Honda's research center in Tochigi. Though it may be a while yet before it reaches the masses, it clearly shows Honda's legendary engineering might, something the CEO knows well. I caught up with Fukui again in Tokyo, and he told me that was exactly what attracted him to Honda some 40 years ago.
Honda was participating in the Formula One race, and Honda was a company that was researching into a wide range of technologies. I was very attracted to that.
So if you joined Honda for the F1, the results right now must be killing you.
The last year has been very tough, but in the near future, we'll be back to our former strength in no time.
But Honda has been speeding ahead. Since its founding in 1948, it has taken the fast track to become the world's biggest motorcycle manufacturer and Japan's #2 automaker. Many agree that the cornerstone of its success is its enigmatic and almost cult-like research division.
I don't know about other companies, but Honda is very conscious about giving the research department a great deal of freedom. That is why it is a separate company. So Honda gives them a certain amount of money for them to experiment within that budget.
It was also where Fukui first cut his teeth, as with the CEOs before him. When he joined in 1969 as an engineer, he had quickly risen through the ranks to head its research and racing departments, working alongside founder Soichiro Honda. Fukui made his mark when he designed Honda's CVCC engine, the first of its kind to meet strict U.S. emission standards in the 1970s. But making tracks in research was anything but easy.
All things were difficult, but when I was responsible for the racing project, there was a huge gap between reality and the vision. In the past, Honda used to dominate the Grand Prix, and then we stayed away for about 10 years. When we plotted our comeback, we struggled, and we had to produce results in a short period of time. That was the most difficult.
What was it like working with the founder of the company?
He would often come when I was involved in motorcycle racing. He was a very strict person. The founder himself used to race when he was young, so he knows everything about it. So when we didn't win, he would ask us if we had done this or what happened to that. His questions were extremely specific, and if we were unable to answer adequately, he would be extremely angry.
Fukui himself is no pushover. Since taking over the helm in 2003, revenues have soared nearly 40% to $94 billion, making it one of the largest and most profitable automakers in the world. But with concerns of global warming and high gas prices, Fukui is facing his toughest challenge yet, as global auto giants slug it out in the battle for green dominance.
And now Honda is faced with the challenge that everyone faces, which is trying to find a replacement for gas. But what is Honda's strategy in finding something different from gas?
代替燃料というね観点もそうなんだけども
Alternative fuels are important, but at the end of the day, we have to reduce the carbon dioxide emission to zero.
CO2 これをね
And when you think of what will fuel such a car, ultimately, hydrogen will power a fuel cell car. Using hydrogen without relying on fossil fuels, without producing carbon dioxide, that's our ultimate goal, and we are meeting that challenge head on.
最終的に必要だということでそれに真正面に向かっている会社ですね
But you're doing other research as well. Is that because you're not sure as to which is going to be the ultimate way to go in terms of finding next generation technology?
まあ今言ったような燃料電池自動車が水素燃料
Even if we can come up with a hydrogen-powered fuel cell car, we don't think all the cars in the world today will be converted to one. We need various technologies. Honda thinks there is potential in battery electric vehicles or motorcycle-type vehicles that run on alcohol may end up being the survivor, or natural gas cars might survive. Different technologies will coexist for a long time.
さまざまな技術が当分の間残ると思うんですね
For a company like Honda that is not as large as some of your competitors, is technology even more important because you don't have the scale as a company?
あんまりね大きさというのはね
Size is often debated, but once you reach a certain level, scale is not that important. But what is key is whether or not Honda can come up with an in-house technology to reduce carbon dioxide emissions and improve fuel efficiency.
ホンダ自身が持つかどうかこれがものすごい重要だと思うんですね
You say in-house technology, not alliances.
いやだからそこ独自で持ってないと
We need it to be proprietary, but even if we partner with other companies, it will not be ours.
なりえない
We need to come up with it ourselves.
まず自分で持って
But we are not a large company, so we have to narrow down the strategy as we can't be doing everything. Yes, we're producing fuel cells, but we won't be pouring too much energy into other things. That kind of segmentation is necessary.
区分けしながらやっていく必要があると思うんですね
Is it possible then that you'll have technological alliances with other companies in the future?
これはね否定はしません
I don't deny it, although I'm not thinking about it at the moment. If there is an alliance that would be effective, I'd like to consider it.
やりたいと思います
What will that do to the pride of the R&D department at Honda?
プライド
Pride is necessary, but we have to be realistic. If we are lacking in certain areas, we should cooperate with others.
他社のいいところがとの協力というのは必要だと思うんですね
Honda was first for the hybrid with the Insight. It had great fuel efficiency, but ultimately had to remove it from the market. What did you learn from this experience?
やっぱりハイブリッド
It was a fuel-efficient hybrid, but we learned that it has to work for the masses. We learned that 2 seats were not enough, and that 2 doors were not enough.
そういうようなことは我々学びましたね
So a business project is different from a science project.
それはねそれはそうなんですけどもそれはもう十分承知の上で
Yes, we knew that, but the Insight was a challenge. The Insight had a lot of meaning, but it wasn't a car that could be mass-produced. It was a front-runner in terms of hybrid technology.
ハイブリッドの技術であり車体の技術でありと思ってます
The FCX Clarity that was recently kicked off still has a lot of problems or hurdles in terms of the infrastructure. When do you think we can overcome some of these infrastructure issues?
ねインフラは
As soon as we can come up with the ability to provide hydrogen without emitting carbon dioxide, and once cars like the FCX are commercialized, the infrastructure will quickly follow.
実用化されればもうすぐできると思ってます
So car before the gasoline station.
そういうことですね
Exactly. Gasoline stations didn't come before the automobile. The cars came first, then they spread, and gasoline stations were built.
できたわけですね
Of course, U.S. automakers are very aggressively investing in new technology as well. But how do you think Japanese automakers in general are positioned in terms of next generation technology?
やはり相当ホンダという会社は二輪車
Honda has a very solid base in motorcycles and small cars, So we have always been very sensitive to fuel efficiency. We think we are one step ahead when it comes to that kind of technology. We are living in an age where the customers see a lot of merit in that type of product, and that is a strong tailwind for Honda.
ホンダにとって追い風だと思ってます。
Don't go away. After the break, we'll have more with Honda's CEO Takeo Fukui. Managing Asia will be right back. Welcome back to Managing Asia. My guest today is Takeo Fukui, the man behind the wheels of Japan's second largest automaker, Honda Motor. Honda is famous for its obsession with engineering, and in the fight for competitive dominance, it's spending billions of dollars every year on new technologies. They call it ASIMO, short for Advanced Step in Innovative Mobility. It's 4 feet tall and a hit with kids. It's the result of Honda's 20-year fixation on developing human-like robots.
I'm Asimo from Honda.
ASIMO now walks, talks, and recognizes faces and sounds. But it's still far from fulfilling Honda's lofty ambition of creating that perfect helper for the home.
これはね、我々も最終の目標はものすご
Our
い
ultimate goal is very high. Enhance its computer capabilities so it becomes a home robot. We aim to provide one ASIMO per household. It can help with security, household chores, and educating children.
夢なんですね。
What is that, 50 years from now, 60 years?
10年以内にはそう
10 years might be difficult, but we'll have a clearer picture then.
見えてくると思うんですよね。
As with ASIMO, Honda is reaching for the sky. It's now building planes, a sporty twin-engine passenger aircraft which has already booked more than 100 orders. On the side, Honda's also producing thin-film solar power cells and growing soya beans, amongst other things. But how do all these fit into the grand plan?
これはね、なんていうんですか、
The Honda Jet, the solar battery, the biofuels, they're all about providing mobility to our customers while trying to sustain the environment.
ということなんですね。
With Honda's obsession to make things work, the company has scored a number of engineering firsts, from motorcycle airbags to ultra-low emission cars. But what about the next iconic car?
When it comes to some of your most symbolic cars, like the Civic or the Accord, some say that it's been a long time since Honda has come out with such an iconic car. How would you respond to that?
今の段階で言いますとね、もちろんアコード、シビックが
Currently, the Accord and the Civic are iconic, but the CR-V is closing in terms of sales volume. Same with the Fit model. These 4 models are positioned in a similar way. We are currently developing a car that will be smaller than the Fit. I think that will be increasingly popular around the world.
もっともっと世界中でポピュラーになるんじゃないかと思います。
In Japan, you're number 2 behind Toyota. Can Honda ever be number 1?
いや、世界でナンバーワンというのは我々の目標。
Our dream is to be number 1 in the world. But we don't think of that in terms of company size or sales volume, but reliability. Reliability as a company, fondness from our customers, and from society as a whole. Those are the ways in which we want to be number 1 in the world.
世界一にはなりたいと思ってます。
How do you plan to close that gap?
やっぱりこれはね、すべての企業活動。
We need to take it a step at a time through all of our corporate activities and products so we can earn the trust of the public.
得ていくことだと思います。
You're expecting operating profits to fall more than 30% this year. In terms of the business environment, is 2008 one of the toughest you have ever experienced?
そうでもないですよ。
Not really. It's true the dollar is weaker and the yen is stronger, which will push our profits down by about 30% this year. But against the euro, there has not been too much of a change, and we have experienced a much more severe appreciation of the yen against the dollar. Compared to that, the impact is negligible. Our business in Asia, Russia, and South America is growing very rapidly. Although conditions are tough, we don't think they are particularly difficult.
格別厳しいとは思ってません。
You mentioned that, of course, demand is growing in emerging markets, Russia, China, Brazil, and so forth. This shift away from North America and towards the BRICS economies, did this happen sooner than you anticipated?
いやこれはね、北米は北米で
It's not that demand in North America is falling. It continues to be a very important market. The importance of the other markets has increased, though. Growth in places like South America have exceeded our expectations. The strength of the economy has had a huge impact. Our South American business is getting bigger and bigger. Russia, China, and Asia are within our expectations.
これはまあ我々の想定のレベルですよね。
When do you expect these emerging economies to overtake North America as your core market?
いやこれはね、なんともわかんない。北米はやはり大
I
きい
don't know. North America will be huge for a long, long time.
レベルになるというのはまだ先じゃないですかね。
Everyone talks about China, but everyone also talks about price competition in China and that it's very, very difficult to be profitable in China. What has your experience in China been like?
ホンダのね、中国の事業はね、
Honda has been in China for about 10 years, since we imported the American Accord. This was welcomed wholeheartedly, and it was very profitable for us. This led to a misconception and a debate with the government about transfer pricing taxation. But when you look at the flip side, it goes to show just how well Honda was doing in China. Honda has been very profitable.
ホンダとしては非常に大きな利益を得ています。
You're expecting production capacity to increase about 20% in China, but the recent rains and the floods that you're experiencing, is that having any impact on your Chinese production?
地震の方はね、そんな大きな影響はありませんでした。おかげさまで。
Thankfully, the quake did not impact as much. Some of the equipment was submerged in water due to the flooding, and that affected production of about 10,000 cars. But we are catching up. We can make up for it this year.
今年中に十分取り戻せると思ってます。
Do you have any concerns about piracy in China? For example, copycat automakers, for example, a lot of auto companies say they launch a product and a year later a Chinese local company launches a very, very similar looking car. Is this a concern for you?
いやもうそれはね、自動車もそうなんだけども、その前
We've
に
gone through the same thing with our motorcycles. It's a terrible situation. We are working with both the Japanese and Chinese governments to bring the issue in line with global standards. If we are not able to do so, it will not be good for China either.
そういう状況にしないと中国自身のためにもならないというふうに思ってます。
Do you see improvements?
ちょっとペースが遅いですけどね。
The pace is a little slow. It is slowly improving, but we still face damages from copycat products.
被害はあります。
Given the rise in raw material prices, steel, aluminum, how can you offset these pressures?
これはね難しいよね。ですから
This is very difficult. Over the medium to long term, you can plan ahead on the basis that raw material prices have increased and come up with an attractive product that justifies the price increase. The way to do it is to use as little costly materials as possible, so small cars, lighter cars, which in turn increases fuel efficiency. That's the way we are headed. But for the short term, things are tough.
当面はね厳しいですね。
And in that short term where things are very difficult, will you have to raise prices to offset some of the material costs?
これはね単純にはいかないですよね。ですから
It's not that simple. Price adjustments are possible depending on the demand in each market and each country. It can't be across the board. The sales staff will have to evaluate demand on the ground when they set their prices.
肌身で感じながら値付けをしていくということになると思います。
In terms of the Civic Hybrid in India, $50,000 is a lot of money in India. How much demand do you expect?
それはねそんなに数はね期待は
We're not expecting a lot of volume. We are bringing a finished product and the tax rate is very high. A small group of people will want it for the image. Things start like that. In a few years, we'll think about local production, and that will enable us to appeal to a wider base.
普及していくということになると思います。
And if you do locally produce, how much can the price come down?
今現在シビックベース車をインド
We sell the Civic already in India, so a $2,000 difference.
ぐらいの売価ということになると思います。
A lot of other automakers are competing at the very other end, $3,000 cars, $4,000 cars. Does Honda plan to enter this race?
いや ちょっとね、5000ドル以下の車
We think a car costing less than $5,000 is out of touch with reality, so we aren't seriously considering it.
車のコストダウンっていうのは全世界
Reducing the cost of a car is needed globally, though. At the same time, when you think about India, our motorcycles command a very big market share. We hope to compete against a low-cost car with our motorcycles.
競争するか二輪車でやりたいと思ってます。
Do you think the comfort level of a $3,000 car is going to be about the same as a motorcycle then?
いや、3000ドルの車というのはね、
If in fact there is a $3,000 car, I guess it's for the customers to decide, but we are confident.
我々は自信あります。
Don't go away. After the break, we asked Takeo Fukui, the head of Honda Motor, what he learned from the founder, Soichiro Honda, and what makes up the Honda DNA. Managing Asia will be right back. Welcome back to Managing Asia. My guest today is Takeo Fukui, the CEO of Honda Motor. Like his predecessors, he rose to the ranks of the research labs to head this Japanese auto giant. Today, he's running the global operations from these headquarters here in Tokyo.
Getting back to the founder of this company, you worked very closely with him, but what did you learn from the founder?
ね、ものすごいだから厳しい面があって
He was very strict, and he put us into shape. At the same time, he would make high demands on the engineers. He was a very sensitive person. He had the faculty to understand people on the ground, market trends, what customers were feeling, and digested that and then made demands on us engineers.
要求をエンジニアに持ってくるということなんですよね。ですから
So he was a man of contrast, a very impressionable
感受性
person.
の高い
We have much to learn from that.
面というのは我々ものすごい学ぶ点だと思いますからね。
Is it true that Honda employees are paid a little bit less than the competitors?
どうかな。
Really? I don't think so.
思うけど
How do you keep your staff motivated? What do you think is the most effective way to motivate your staff?
一番いいのはやはりやっぱり人間
The best way is for our staff, which comes up to hundreds of thousands, to feel that they are treated fairly. Opportunities are available to everyone. You get proper credit when you accomplish something. It's a matter of respect, and that leads to higher motivation.
モチベーションにつながると思います。
And what keeps you motivated after 40 years?
あとでいやこれはねやっぱりホンダという
I like Honda, the company. In many ways, I don't want to lose to the competition, whether it be our products, our image, our corporate activities, or in racing. Those feelings inside me are still very strong. That's my motivation.
これがモチベートしてます。
How would you characterize your management style? Are you very hands-on?
そうですね。なるべく現場の人と
I try to communicate directly with everyone as much as possible. I want to get the information firsthand, and when necessary, I make a decision and share my vision with all of our employees.
全社に投げかけたいと思ってます。
You said your founder was very, very severe in many ways and harsh. Are you like that as well?
いやある面はいいんですけどね。例えば
I don't think anyone else can replicate the ways of a founder.
やろうとしてもまずできないと思います。
All of the CEOs from Honda have come from research. Do you think engineers make good businessmen?
いやね、そうじゃなくて私の場合もそうなんだけども。
Not really. When you look back, and this applies to myself as well, the founder had great partners. What has been true for each generation is that the CEO is not the only person who exercises leadership. There's a president, there's a vice president, or two vice presidents.
関係でコンビネーションでね。
That relationship, where one is an engineer and the other from sales, makes a powerful combination.
コンビネーションっていうのが非常に大きい力を発揮するんじゃないかと思います。
Finally, I understand you're a huge motorsports fan, of course, but do you still race from time to time?
いやね。
No, I don't race anymore.
Why not?
ただね、
But I try to enjoy it, whether it's the Formula One or MotoGP. I always watch on TV. When I have the time, I quietly ride the mountain roads. It gives me great pleasure.
楽しみにしてます。
How quietly?
いや、ものすごい
Oh, within the speed limit.
And that was Takeo Fukui, president and CEO of Honda Motor, based here in Tokyo. Join us again next week for more management insights only here on CNBC. I'm Kaori Enjoji. Thank you for watching.